Welcome to the Homeschool Show from North Carolinians for Home Education. Our goal is to help you homeschool with confidence and joy. I'm your host, Matthew McDill, and we have as our co-host again, Amanda Wares.
Yes, hi.
Tell us what we got going today.
All right, so today in Homeschool News, we will let you know about ways to connect with other parents at the Thrive Conference and about an upcoming field trip to the alpaca farm. And then in Homeschool Conversations, we're going to listen to a conversation you had with Belinda Bullard, who is one of our featured speakers at the Thrive Conference this year. And then on Homeschool Helps with Amanda, I am going to share with you some tips, some ideas about parenting and homeschooling teenagers.
Fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the news. We have a couple of items here. One of them is that we have created special ways for you to connect with other homeschool parents while you're at the conference.
Yes.
There's so many things at the conference. All the keynote speakers, all the workshops, the vendor hall. There's so much going on. But one of the things that people really enjoy the most is connecting with other parents and being able to see all the other people who are doing what they're doing. And we try to get you to be able to connect with people that you can relate to in some way. For example, we have regional gatherings. And so all the 9 regions will be represented at different times. This year, we're going to do it different, and that is all the regional gatherings are going to be on Thursday night. So that's a new schedule, so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that and that you can jump in on your regional gathering. You can meet your liaison and you can meet other people in your area.
Right.
Then we have other special gatherings where people who are kind of in the same life situation can get together. So some of them are military families, special needs, single parents, new homeschoolers, parents of preschoolers, multicultural homeschoolers, homeschooling gifted children, and homeschooling with chronic illness. So if you find yourself in any of these situations and think, I would love to connect with some other people, that by itself is probably a reason to come to the conference besides all the rest of the stuff. Right. So go to nchu.com/thrive and check out all the information about the conference, and you can register there. The other news we've got for you is a field trip planned to the alpaca farm in Pittsboro, North Carolina. That's going to be April 18th. Are you going? Are you excited?
I am going. I'm so excited.
You can't wait to pet those
I
little
love
guys?
alpacas. They're so cute. But yes, some friends and I got together and we're going and taking our kids. We're super excited.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So the Carolina Sunshine Alpaca Farm. The farm will only be open to NCHE registrants on the day of our visit. Families will self-pace their learning experiences, spending as much or little time as you wish in each area. Farm staff will be stationed throughout the property to tell about the animals and answer all your questions. Registration will be open until noon on Friday, April 14th, or while supplies last. And Amanda and her group's already going, so you better get in there.
That's right. I've seen a lot of registrations coming in for it, so
yeah,
get on that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now we have our Homeschool Conversations. This is great. Belinda Bullard is the founder of A Blessed Heritage Educational Resources, a leading provider of multicultural history curriculum featuring African American presence and contribution. She is married to her best friend Reggie, and they have 2 daughters and 1 son who were educated at home. Her family's homeschooling journey, complete with encouragement and the insight she has gained over the years, can be enjoyed at blessedheritagechronicles.com. And Belinda is just a delight.
Yeah, we've had her at the conference.
Yes, she was so wonderful when she was here before, and I can't wait to see her again.
Right. So earlier this week, I was able to get with her on a Zoom call. So let's check out that conversation.
All right.
Belinda, thank you so much for joining us on the Homeschool Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about today, and I'm excited about Thrive coming up in a few weeks, huh?
That's right. We are getting ready, and we already have lots of people signing up, so we're really excited about that. And I know you've been here before, which means we're having you back. That's a good sign.
Yeah, I am really thrilled to come back. I had a great time last time. I met some interesting folks, and I met people who actually are followers of ours on social media. And that's always fun to meet people in real life. But I also think we got to share some great information. Got to sell. Of course, that's always wonderful. But meeting the people of North Carolina
Right.
and the surrounding areas, I really enjoyed. I'm really excited about being back a second time. So thanks
Good. Well,
again.
we're excited to have you. So I'm looking at these workshop titles. They are very exciting as well. I'm going to read through them all just so our listeners can know what you're going to be doing. Tweaking misfit curriculum to fit your family. 10 messages I would tell my younger homeschool self. I think you nailed that title right there. I think there's going to be a lot of people on that one. Of course, the curriculum one too, because, there's such a big need for that.
Yeah.
Third, don't just teach history, build a world changer. Preparing now for college success later. And finally, turning high school experiences into transcripts that are impactful. So whether it's these or anything else, do you have a favorite topic you love to talk about?
Well, my favorite has changed over the years. Of course,
Okay.
building a world changer through the way we teach history has always been a passion of mine. It's how we started A Blessed Heritage Educational Resources, and it's really been kind of my message and my place within the homeschooling community for close to 20 years now.
Okay.
That said, I am also at an interesting season in our own lives. We are now finished homeschooling with our youngest daughter in college. We have 2 young adults, and it's a nice time to reflect and to look back and to say, okay, what would I have done differently? What might I have changed? But also to be able to partner with younger mothers who are in the struggle, I should not say on the journey, which sometimes is a
Yeah,
struggle if we're honest with ourselves. Okay.
that's right.
So they're on the journey, and I'm able to be in a place of mentorship, be in a place of companionship, and just kind of to say, both practically and from an inspirational perspective, you can do this, you can finish strong in this. Homeschoolers do go to college. It is not an academic death sentence to homeschool your children. They go on to do awesome things. Having grown-ups, I can say that without having to say it with a shaky voice or say it with any bit of uncertainty. I'm on that side that has seen the fruit. So I'm a believer.
That's great.
And
I love it.
sometimes that's all a younger person that's behind you in the journey just needs is somebody to say, I've been there, I've done it. I bought the t-shirt, bought several t-shirts.
Right.
You can too.
So speaking of college, you have a preparing now for college success later. Do you have a couple of tips you can share now that we'll be talking about?
Absolutely. One, of course, the spinoff of creating a solid transcript is another workshop on its own, but it is an integral part of that college preparation. The other thing that I will say to anyone, even middle schoolers, and I talk about this in the workshop, is to go, there are some things that you can get started doing as early as 8th grade. That will help you in the process so that you aren't as harried by the time you get to that junior and that senior year. Because as a homeschool parent, you really do wear all the hats. You are guidance counselor, you are editor, you are scholarship writer, collector kind of person, in addition to the admissions person, in addition to the checkoff person, the tour guide, all of that. You wear all of those hats. And so there are things that you can begin to do earlier so that you aren't in as much of a bind later.
And what's an example of some of those early things we can do?
Early things, get started on those essays. Most scholarship essays, most entry-level essays are going to ask you about the same few questions. What do you want to do? Community service and giving back is huge in this age. They're going to ask you, what do you want to give back? How do you see yourself serving the community? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Why do you want to attend college? Those are all areas to get your children thinking about early, so that even if they just have an outline that they can tweak, they're going to write that essay over and over and over and over and over. And so the tighter they can, there's also the test preparation, because even though many schools dropped the SAT, ACT requirements during the pandemic, many schools still have them. So if you need to take those can be taken early. And you can take advantage of what's called super scoring at some schools. If you've done really well, you can use that highest score on either part of your SAT, so that you don't have to send the part where you tanked or didn't get enough sleep that day or whatever happened. And that way it gives you a better chance on that scholarship. Dual enrollment is another area I talk about. There's some advantages and disadvantages to going to community college first, but for many homeschoolers, it can be a bridge into what college is going to be like in terms of the pacing and in terms of having someone outside of mom and dad teach you, and therefore not having what we call mommy grades. But so all of those are areas that you can start well before even 10th grade. You can start community college, 9th grade, 10th grade, however, and that all of those steps are things you can do up in front of the madness of junior and senior year.
Got it. That's great. Good tips. So let's go to the other end and talk to your younger homeschool self. And give us a couple of the messages that you would give your younger homeschool self.
We'll talk a lot about crafting homeschool and understanding that home is the operative part of homeschool. Too often, especially now in this age of social media, we are so tempted to compare ourselves to others. And of course, homeschooling on Instagram or Facebook is always the highlight reel. You're never going to post that day where the kid didn't know left from right foot and you ran to the wrong park because you didn't fully read the instructions, or the cupcakes went wrong. You know, none of that stuff shows up on Instagram. You always post that best day, that perfect picture, that day when you thought your kid could cure the common cold, or had the new science invention that would just eradicate cancer. You know, those are the things that show up on Instagram. So of course, there's a comparison there, and homeschooling is isolating. Understand that. And so there's the tendency then for us to feel like we're not doing enough. We're not social enough. We're not active enough. We're not pretty enough while we're working through this whole thing, right? So we'll talk a lot about just individualizing your home, being comfortable with that. Talk some about even defending that, because sometimes, as you know, Matthew, we do have to have those conversations with people that are coworkers or in-laws or family members who don't quite get what we're trying to do. And so we will share quite a bit about those things, which when you're a young parent, you have to speak from a place of confidence that you may not even have. As you get into it, as you understand, as you build, as you grow, you become a little bit more unshakable in what you're trying to do. But the young homeschool mom is having to justify and somewhat defend her decision, and the dad too, even before they fully understand if it's going to work or not. So that's what we really speak to younger people in the journey.
And from what you were just saying, are you going to be encouraging moms to let the home be important, and at least some stay home as opposed to going out. I was picking up on what you were saying there?
There are so many different ways that this can be done. Traditionally, what you see is a mom who is at home and a father who is working. That is one model. There are other opportunities and ways to get this done. And I think that is one of several ways to get it done. There are flexible jobs, there are remote jobs. You don't, as long as you meet your state's requirements, you do not have to be at home or school beginning at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. One of our mistakes is that we try to recreate the public school within our home. So sometimes dad may be the primary educator and mom is the one who those are financial decisions as much as anything else. Sometimes school may happen in the evening. If you have to school 4 hours on certain days, who says it has to be 4 hours in the morning? Your kids may do better in the afternoon. Your kids may do better at night. You may do better at night. So the whole thing of mom coming home is one model. I always had a part-time job, as an example. I always had a flexible job. I was an adjunct professor at several colleges during most of the time that we homeschooled. So I was still able to bring in an income. And as I said, that's an option for many parents, especially now. Our world has changed so much. And remote jobs are not as uncommon as they once were. So many ways to do it.
So Belinda, do you have any last bits of encouragement for moms or dads?
Last bits, if there was something that I would offer, I would say, especially if you're fairly new to the homeschooling journey, please come out. Please come out and meet other people. Please come out and shake a hand, make a new friend. Sometimes you just need a near peer, somebody who also is almost as lost as you are, but maybe a little farther along, so that they keep you encouraged. And then come out and meet people like Matthew. Come out and meet people like me who have done it for a minute and who can reach back and say, yeah, you can do this too. Come out also if you've been in the homeschooling journey for a moment, because every now and then we need to get refreshed and we need to be reminded as to why we're doing this. So if there's a message that I want to leave the community with, it would be, don't miss the conference and don't miss the opportunity to fellowship, to broaden your network, even if it's just getting an Instagram handle or a Facebook handle, and being able to talk to someone online, because homeschooling can be isolating and we don't want anybody to quit because they did not have a community around them. The community has gotten too big now, regardless of who you are, for you to not do this because you didn't feel as if you were supported. A lot of support out there now.
That's right.
Come on.
That's
out.
So encouraging. And I think we love to talk about how the in-person conference just can't be replaced. You know, all the online support is such a blessing, but it's still not as good as sitting in those conferences, workshops, meeting people, and seeing all the people who are doing what you're doing.
That part, meeting people, because meeting people online is good. It has its place ongoing, but it is hit or miss. But when you are interacting in person, you get to get a sense of that person, that the vibe, so to speak. And to understand, is this even somebody that you want to follow online? Is this somebody who's been in the journey long enough that they can really help you where you need the help? So yes, the conference is invaluable for that reason.
All right. Well, I'm so glad you joined us today. I'm glad that people get a little taste of one of the big reasons they should come, and that is Belinda Bullard will be a featured speaker at the NCHE Thrive Conference, November 25 through 27. So so check it out and register at nche.com/thrive. And where can they find more about your ministry?
Well, I have, I'm on Facebook at Belinda Bullard. I am on Instagram as Bullard Belinda. I do not post as many homeschooling posts now for obvious reasons. I post more my kids as grown ups. I post my new passion, which is gardening and that kind of thing. But I am very reachable and very approachable. Just write me if there are things you want to get a handle on and to maybe just set up some time to talk one-on-one. I am there. And I'm
Great.
not a paid coach, so you have an opportunity to do that at no cost right now.
Well, thanks so much. We will see
Thank
you soon,
you.
okay?
All right. Thank you, Matthew. Enjoy your day. Glad we got to
you
talk.
too.
Okay.
It is time for Homeschool Helps with Amanda.
Yes.
So here you are.
Here we
and
are.
You have a big topic, teens.
So maybe, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but when my kids were younger, people always said to me, oh, just wait until they're teenagers.
Of
Like it
course.
was some big scary thing. And
Right.
when they became teenagers, they were going to turn into monsters or something and be
Right.
horrible. But I just want to encourage all of our viewers, all of our listeners, that it really isn't that way. It really isn't. I love homeschooling and parenting teenagers. I love being around other teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not as scary as a lot of people make it out to be. Especially, I have found, if you've been homeschooling a while, hopefully you and your teen, you have an established relationship. You're just really closer. And homeschooling is kind of the byproduct of that. Which brings me to my first main point. I want to emphasize, and I want all of you to emphasize with your teens, relationship over academics.
Good.
Now, this is hard because last week, right, I talked about homeschooling high school and making a plan and getting the credits and all of that. Of course, that's important. But I have found and know so many people, if you keep the relationship between you and your teen strong, the academics will come. Now, from personal experience, if you have a teenage boy, for example, who refuses to do his algebra because he doesn't see the point of it,
right?
It can be hard. It can be hard, but it's so important. If you keep the relationship strong, keep the communication open, the academics will come. And then when you explain to them the point of doing algebra, maybe they're more likely to listen and understand what you're saying. Now, maybe you have just pulled your teenager out of school to homeschool. And I want to encourage you that it's okay to take a little time to focus on your relationship with that teen before you start hammering the academics. It really will make everything better in the long run. That is so important. Have you found that with your teenagers? I know you've had.
We didn't have to pull them out.
Right.
Said. But
the focusing on the relationship.
Yeah, if you don't establish kind of like, here's how this is going to work in a positive way, then you can't talk about the school much.
Exactly. And then my second main point is teenagers are awesome. It's so true. It's so true. I think before I had teenagers, I was a little bit scared, honestly, to have teenagers. But it's so much fun. Homeschooling teens can be so much fun. You can have these amazing, in-depth discussions about whatever topic they're learning about. That transition from where you're really teaching and directing all of their education to where you're more a facilitator or a coach, it's really amazing. It's an amazing transition. I love the way teen brains work. It's so just cool and different sometimes from how our brains work.
Right.
And one of the many advantages to homeschooling teens is maybe that they're more free to be themselves. They're not trapped so much into that group mentality, groupthink, and you as their parent and their teacher, you get to witness it. You get to be a part of it all. So
and help shape it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I just want to encourage all of you guys, don't be scared of homeschooling and parenting your teenagers. It really can be a joy. And focus on that relationship over the academics. It will be okay. I promise it will be okay. I have successfully, I hope, parented and homeschooled 3 teenagers, and I'm working on number 4 right now, and it really is okay in the end. It will be all right.
And I would add that parenting teens is one of my favorite parts.
Yes.
Because you get to have those conversations, and there's just a lot more depth and relationship involved.
Yes.
And as you said, it's very challenging.
Oh, sure.
Because they're figuring out who they are.
Yes.
And they're changing a lot.
Yes.
So it is challenging.
Sure.
But they're not monsters, right?
No.
And I think the other really great part of it that I like is that this is one of the most important parts where our discipleship comes in.
Yes.
We get to shape how they're thinking and their hearts and help them understand who God is and love Him. And so it's just a very critical time.
Help them answer those big questions. Yes.
So have hope and also just receive. This is important. Mm-hmm. This is an important time.
Definitely.
And so, again, just like with all the other stuff, we're here to help you in any way that we can. And one of the ways, of course, is this show. We thank you for once again joining us. And we'd like to hear from you. If you have questions about this topic or anything else, you can email us at thehomeschoolshow@nchu.com. And we'd love for you to share the show with others and tell them about it. Then go to YouTube and subscribe there, or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or wherever you can find it, and like and subscribe those things to those things. And until next week, continue to homeschool with confidence and joy.
Bye-bye.